So let's talk about meerkats. You know, those little desert dwellers that stand upright like they're auditioning for a nature documentary narrated by Morgan Freeman. People see them in zoos or on TV shows and suddenly think, you know what my house needs? One of those wide-eyed, sand-digging, bug-eating critters running around the living room. And I get it. Meerkats are cute. They've got the big eyes, the expressive little faces, and the way they huddle together like they're plotting world domination. But before you start Googling meerkat breeder near me, which by the way, might put you on some sort of government watch list, let's break this down. Owning a meerkat as a pet comes with pros and cons. And trust me, it's a list you'll want to hear. The pros of owning a meerkat. 1. They're ridiculously cute. Let's be honest, meerkats look like someone crossed a squirrel with a Disney character. They've got those bright eyes, tiny paws, and a knack for standing on two legs like they're about to deliver a TED Talk. Just having one in your house instantly boosts your cuteness factor by at least 200%. Imagine inviting friends over. Oh, that's my dog, that's my cat, and over there is Gary the meerkat. Instant social media gold. 2. They're entertaining. Meerkats don't just exist. They perform. They dig, they wrestle, they chirp, they pop their heads out of random places like furry little jack-in-the-boxes. Watching them scurry around your home is like having your own live-action cartoon. Forget Netflix. This is pure, unscripted entertainment. 3. They're social. Meerkats in the wild live in large groups called mobs or clans. They're naturally interactive animals. If you've got more than one, they'll communicate with each other constantly. You'll hear all sorts of chirps, squeaks, and little calls. It's like owning a furry walkie-talkie. 4. Conversation starter. There's nothing like casually dropping into conversation. Yeah, I've got a meerkat at home. People stop mid-sentence. They want to know everything. You become the person in your friend group with the most unusual pet. 5. They're intelligent. Meerkats aren't just adorable, they're smart. They learn routines, they recognize people, and they're problem solvers. Of course, problem solving can mean figuring out how to open your snack drawer when you're not looking. But hey, intelligence is still a plus. 6. They'll keep you on your toes. Forget a boring lifestyle. With a meerkat, you never know what's coming. 1 minute it's digging in a sandbox. The next it's perched on your shoulder like a tiny furry pirate lookout. It's unpredictable, and in the best way, if you've got the patience. The cons of owning a meerkat. Now, here's where things get real, because as cute as meerkats are, they're not just exotic cats with eyeliner. 7. They're wild animals, not domesticated pets. Let's be crystal clear, meerkats are not domesticated. Dogs and cats have had thousands of years to get used to living with humans. Meerkats, they've had 0. That means they've still got all their wild instincts, digging, biting, marking territory. You're basically asking a desert survivalist to adapt to your living room. Spoiler, it doesn't go smoothly. 8. They're escape artists. Remember when I said they're smart? Yeah, too smart. Meerkats are pros at digging, climbing, and squeezing through impossible spaces. That cage you thought was secure? Nope. That backyard you thought was fenced? Think again. Owning a meerkat is basically a daily round of, how did you get out this time? 9. They're not house-trained. Cats use litter boxes. Dogs can be trained. Meerkats? Not so much. They mark territory. They go when they need to go. And sometimes, that's in your shoes. Or on your couch. Or, if they're feeling particularly creative, in your cereal bowl. You'll need an industrial-strength cleaning plan. 10. They can be aggressive. Here's the thing. Meerkats bite. They've got sharp little teeth, and they're not afraid to use them. Especially if they feel threatened, stressed, or just in a bad mood. This is not the kind of pet you hand to your toddler for a cuddle. 11. They're loud. Remember the cute little chirps I mentioned earlier? Multiply that by 100. Meerkats are noisy, especially if they're alone or feel insecure. In the wild, they're constantly communicating to warn about predators. At home, they'll still vocalize non-stop, even if the only predator in sight is the vacuum cleaner. 12. They need a clan. Here's the kicker: meerkats don't do well alone. They're built for group living. A solitary meerkat gets anxious, stressed, and even depressed, which means if you're thinking about adopting one, you'll need at least a few. Yes, you heard that right. You don't just get one meerkat, you get a starter pack. Hope you've got space for an entire meerkat family. So should you own a meerkat? Well, unless you're running a wildlife sanctuary or have a spare desert biome in your backyard, probably not. On the plus side, they're adorable, entertaining, intelligent, and guaranteed to make your friends jealous. On the downside, they're wild animals with serious needs. They bite, they're noisy, they need a clan, and they won't respect your couch as anything other than a giant scratching post. Owning a meerkat is kind of like saying, hey, I think I'll just adopt a tornado. It looks fun, it'll keep me on my toes, and sure, it might destroy my house, but at least it'll be interesting. Meerkats are amazing creatures in the wild. Watching them stand guard in the desert sun or dig tunnels with perfect teamwork is incredible. But in your living room? Not so much. So admire them, love them, maybe even sponsor one through a wildlife charity. But when it comes to pets, stick with something that won't try to turn your furniture into a sand dune. After all, when it comes to meerkats, the best place to see them is where they belong, in the wild, plotting their next group photo op for the nature documentaries.